I wanna be free, so free, like a feather blowing through the breeze, like a bird in a tree, like a dolphin in the sea. I wanna fly high, so high, like an eagle in the sky. And when my time has come, I'll let it all go with a sigh. Pachamama, coming home to the place where I belong. Pachamama, coming home to the place where I belong. I wanna be free, be me, be the only thing that I see. Not to rise, not to fall, be at one with love and all. There is no high, no low, there's nowhere else to go.
Yes, time to get into it. So when we think of like birth, and then we think about like postpartum, we think about breastfeeding and like this cloud of like, oh, it's a new baby and joy, and we see all these happy moms and like these pictures of moms with their boobs out breastfeeding, and I think that we miss out on a really important part about postpartum that I think we all experience, no matter what degree we experience it. You know, some have it more, where, you know, it's more intense than others, and some people act like it's not there, but we all know. So I want to talk about postpartum and what that looks like for you. So just tell me a little bit how you transitioned, you know, after your boys were here, and what that looked like, and was it what you expected?
So with Maddox, after my first, I mean, it was obviously, it's a blur, really, but I had that, you know, like the first 2 weeks where your like adrenaline is still running high, and you're just kind of in like this la la land of like, oh my God, this baby's here, and he's beautiful, and my heart has been like ripped wide open, and I'm exhausted, and my boobs are killing me, and my vagina is not healed, and I'm still wearing a diaper, and you know, it's just so raw and so it's kind of indescribable. But with him, so I had all those normal feelings, and I really was more anxious than anything. I had like a constant fear of something happening to him, constant fear of him not breathing, and germs, and you know, people being sick or holding him, or him being too hot or too cold. And maybe that's like a first time mom thing, or maybe that's a postpartum anxiety thing, or maybe it's part of who I am, or I don't think you can really label it. It's just, you know, something that, I mean, just what I was experiencing. And then I started to get my rhythm with him, and we'd get out more, and I was really great about meeting up with other moms and meeting, you know, other kids, and doing mommy me yoga with him, and taking him to all different places, and a million pictures on Facebook, and like really documenting everything.
Mom stuff.
Yeah, everything. And also having that feeling of like, I don't know how people have more than one. Like, what the hell? How? You know, how did my mom have 5? And gosh, so, but also that feeling of like him wanting to have siblings. And so I feel like postpartum with Maddox, there was those moments and maybe weeks of anxiety and, nervousness, but eventually was pretty smooth sailing. I got pregnant again when he was only 8 months old, so those hormones kick in, and my body was already changing again. I didn't give myself a lot of time to really settle. And just another thing with Maddox, like the feeling that I had towards him, it was like that, like pain in my chest. I felt like my heart hurt because I loved this thing so much, and it was like another thing that's like indescribable, but it was just this like gut feeling that I had. And with Nico, Nico's definitely a different story, or my postpartum with him, and honestly, I'm still in it. He's not even 11 months yet, so this is definitely, I'm still experiencing my time with him, and the first few weeks I remember going well, the same, like it was a blur. I was tired, but I was happy, and physically I was recovering, seemed like to be faster, but I really started to mourn my relationship with Maddox and how it was changing so fast. And he was only 18 months, so I felt like I was missing out on so much. And he was talking quite a bit, but it was kind of like only I could understand what he was saying or wanted. I remember having this crazy fear of like something happening to me and nobody being able to understand what he needed or what he wanted. And hindsight, it's like he would have been just fine, and there's plenty of people that would have figured out what he needed. But and I had so much family and friends available and helping me and taking Maddox out. Every day I had somebody here taking him to the park, or just playing outside with him, or making lunch for him, or just being around. And as much as I appreciated that, it really just made me so sad that like I was missing out on time with him. And I remember my mom saying, like, this is a short amount of time. Like, you're going to be right back to where you guys were. It's just a short amount of time. You need to rest. You need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of Nico. And it wasn't until probably until he was like, Nico was maybe 1 or 2 months. I really don't remember like the time, but it was when I really started feeling like, okay, this is not the same. And I should be feeling way more connected to him. And I should be having like that hurt in my heart that I had for Nico, or for Maddox. And, of course I felt like I loved him, and I felt, like I was taking care of him, and I was feeding him and bathing him and getting dressed and like doing all the basics. But I was just not quite there. And, I was pulling it off, and I was becoming more active with both of them, and I was packing up the car with both of them and going places, and eventually, eating out and play dates and doing all the things like I should have been doing. But I was gone. I was mentally checked out. I previous to having kids, I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. So I knew that there was always that, in the back of my mind, there was always, I felt like predisposed to postpartum depression. And it was obviously like definitely a fear of mine. But I knew by just the way I was feeling and the different ways I was choosing to cope, I knew that it was very apparent that I was suffering from either postpartum depression or, whatever you want to call it, or postpartum anxiety. I just knew it was not the same experience that I had with Maddox. Not that they should be the same, but I wanted to check out. I wanted to be alone. I wanted time for myself. I wanted a different life. I wanted people to see like how much I was suffering, but I just could not say it. I just couldn't put it into words, because a part of me also felt like, well, this is life with 2 kids under 2. This is, having a 5-month-old and a 2-year-old. Like, this is just what it feels like. And, I was nursing Nico, but I just felt like repulsed by it. I felt gross. I felt weak, physically weak. And, it doesn't get better on its own. So I started drinking a lot more than obviously I should have been, and just started making poor choices. I felt completely disconnected from my husband. I didn't want to hang out with other moms anymore. I didn't want to make those plans. I didn't want to go to yoga. I didn't want to, do the play date thing. I didn't want to talk about kids anymore. I didn't want to talk about babies. I didn't want to talk about fucking strollers. I didn't want to talk about anything that had to do with raising kids, because mentally and physically and emotionally, I felt so done and so over it. And so, eventually, my family, I made it very apparent that I needed help, and that I wasn't able to do this alone. Not that I was ever alone. I have a very supportive family, supportive husband. His family is very supportive, but everyone just kind of goes on with their lives.
You're dealing with this every second, and you're going to bed with it, and you're waking up with it.
Totally.
And you're feeding them with it, and you're living every single day with
yes.
it. So.
And I can't expect people to be here all the time, or people to be there for you all the time, or checking in with you. Everybody has their own lives.
Okay.
And so eventually, I made it very clear that I was done and needed things to change.
So what was the turning point? Like, what got you to that point where you felt like you needed to ask, for help and like to get the change?
So I just knew that I was not capable of keeping myself safe and keeping my kids safe. And that's a really, really shitty feeling, because that's really my only job, right? Is to keep them safe. So the turning point, the changes that had to be made were, I had to get alone time. I had to step out of this house without my kids. I had to get back on my mat. I had to get back into therapy. I had to get back on my meds. I had to talk to my husband and my family about what it was I was feeling. Because that's the other thing, nobody can read your mind. And I did a great job at going through the motions and, you know, making it seem like, and something my husband told me was like, you're so great with the kids. Like, you are such a great mom. Like, I just thought you kind of had it all together. And
yeah. That's what we're supposed to do. We put that face. We put
Right.
the face on, you know,
and the kids are doing well, and then like you're doing well as a mom. But inside I was just drowning.
Yeah.
And becoming resentful and angry and gosh, literally just wondering, like, is this my life? Like, is this is what I'm gonna do? Is be a mom? And what the fuck what does that even mean?
Yeah.
And just not enjoying motherhood at all. And had, you know, glimpses of fun and like little pockets of like, I had like some good days, and you know, I'm a very like vivacious 2-year-old that really helped me like in so many ways, because just like the love that he showed me, and then seeing the love between him and his brother, really helped out some days. But once I was able to commit, just kind of like surrendering, so I am not happy and this is not going to be functional for very much longer, I was really able to help myself. And I'm about 2 months past that really bad point, and about 2 months on my meds consistently, and I go to yoga every day, and I have at least one day a week that I do things by myself, whether it's errands or doing nothing and just sitting. Hi, buddy.
Did you have fun at the park?
Yeah. I'm almost done, okay?
Oh my
Oh
arm.
my goodness. Oh, they're beautiful. Let me see. Let me see them. They're beautiful. Wow. Oh my goodness. Are you showing off for Auntie George?
You brought your mommy flowers.
Thank you, buddy. They're beautiful. I'll be done in 10 minutes. Okay? Do you want to go get a snack?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll play with you, okay?
Okay.
Okay. I love you. Bye. Going on it in there, and I'll be back in 10 minutes, okay? Thank you for my flowers. I love them. Something I forgot to touch on, how I had to make the decision to stop breastfeeding.
Yeah, well, so that's what I was going to ask you, because, I mean, obviously you, like you said, you already had been diagnosed before pregnancy, and you had been on meds, and you kind of have experience with, you know, like dealing with that. So how was it, like, you know, for you deciding to like get on the meds, and what did that look like for you? Because obviously you were breastfeeding, and what feelings and things came up with that?
So, I mean, it was definitely a tough decision. I knew what I had to do. But the crazy thing is that, so Maddox nursed 6 times a day. You know, I thought I was going to be nursing him forever, and then, you know, he really weaned himself like right before he was like 1. He went down to like once or twice a day, and then eventually just that whole process, he just weaned himself. Nico was not like a crazy nurser, and would maybe nurse like twice or 3 times a day by like 6 months, and then by like the 7th, 8th month mark, he was nursing like once at night. And I just really feel like he knew.
Yeah, and there's that connection. I mean,
Right.
it's crazy like how our bodies, we're so intertwined, and just like the dance we do in birth, it goes into
Yes.
postpartum, so it's
Yeah.
like you guys were feeding off of each other, so
Yes.
he probably did know.
He and
It's like a
right.
know,
It was like his greatest gift. It was like him saying it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Yes, and so I ended up being out of town for 2 days, and I pumped and left him milk, and he didn't even want the milk in the bottle or in a cup or anything. And so then when I got back, I kind of held him in a nursing position, and he didn't try and latch. And so it was okay, we're done. And that was at 9.5 months, so I was still a little concerned about him getting, nutrition. And so I tried to start him on formula just to at least 1 year old, and he would gag and throw that up. So I was okay, he's done. And so it took me a few more days to start my meds, because I was well, maybe he's gonna want to nurse, or maybe and I just really could not believe that we had reached the end. And it was really hard for me, because I felt that was really my only connection with him, and that was something that was keeping him close, or feeling okay, or feeling close to me. And I swear to God, it was the minute I said out loud, the minute I really started saying out loud to people and to my therapist, I don't feel connected to him. He stopped nursing, I started my meds, and I swear, that in the next few days, I got that ache in my chest. I got that ache in my chest that I had with Maddox. And it was this is my kid. This is, he felt different to me. He smelled different to me. He really awakened me again. And so worried about losing that connection with him, not nursing anymore. But God, I feel more connected to him now than I ever have,
and you're present,
right.
You're here, you're not trying to escape.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm taking way better care of myself. So in turn, I'm taking way better care of my kids. And, you feel you always hear that, from moms, better moms, or mom, that have older kids, or that's their advice, is you have got to take care of yourself if you want to be the mom that you envision.
Yeah. I feel I feel we all, I don't know if we all do, but I feel as a mom, and most of us, we had that one moment, that defining moment where we hit rock bottom, and it's we let go of that perception that we have to give everything to our kids, and our kids come first. And because when we don't take care of ourselves, our kids aren't coming first, because you really, at the end of the day, we have to take care of ourselves, like you said, in order to to give them that love. And I just love right now, it was so powerful when you were talking about how you had that moment where it was and you took a big exhale, and you had that connection, and you had that ache, and it was you just let everything go off your chest. And I just, you're just so powerful for taking those steps for yourself, and taking those steps for the kids, and for your husband too. I'm sure everything is all encompassing. So
yeah, definitely. So I'm still it's obviously a process, and I know like my kids are little. Like I had years and years and years of like this like ebb and flow, and like routine to me is, I don't know, just like so temporary. Like everything changes so fast with these guys, and like I also had to remember like I'm 28 years old. I'm young. I want to do other things. Like I want them to see me doing different things than just making them breakfast, lunch, and dinner and driving them places. You know, I want them to see me in a different light. And I don't even know what that looks like. So I had to really, what motherhood has really done for me, take the kids away, or take them out of the picture. It's really it's made me ask myself, like, who the hell are you? Like, what do you want to do? What, like, rocks your soul? Like, what are you doing here? You know, like, what do you want your kids to, like, remember you as? And it's just, I don't feel stuck anymore. I don't feel like I want a different life, because I'm realizing like I can raise them, and I can be a mom, I can be a wife, I can be a daughter, I can be all these like different things. But I can also be like me, and I can figure out what I want to do, and there's just this like freedom that I now see and feel that I didn't before, when I was so deep in it. And I know that comes eventually for some moms, but I also know that it takes, for some other moms, it takes years and years and years and years. And sometimes you don't wake up.
Yeah, you're fortunate to have figured it out at 28 instead of your kids being 28, and now you're like, what am I doing? Yeah. So, and I think that comes with like, I never really had direction before. You know, I got married and I started having kids, and I got my teacher training and my certification for yoga, and I did like little things here and there, but I never had this direction. I never had these like plans. So I think that's why I felt so lost. It's like, well, okay, if I'm not going to do like the mom thing 190,000%. Yeah, you tried that. You're like, I'm here.
I tried that, and it made me miserable. Yeah.
And you're like, now I can't give them back.
Right.
So.
I'm like, let's figure out what else I like doing. It can't be like.
Right.
So anyways, can't be like my old patterns and my old ways of coping.
It's
and
so
it's
funny
just,
how we do that.
So that's where I'm at right now, and
so I'm gonna have you say two things.
Okay.
One, what would you tell yourself before you? No, you're good. What would you tell yourself before you had kids? And
Okay.
Kids weren't even in the picture. And then what would you tell yourself right as you hit postpartum? Just
big kids out of my stomach.
Kids out of your stomach. Now what? Like what to expect? Like what is something that you wish you had before somebody had told you before you hit postpartum?
Okay. So, what I would tell myself, like before I even had kids, right? Before they were like in the picture, would be that you know what it is to struggle. You know what it is to not struggle so much. You're going to hit that really dark place again, and you're going to come out of it. And to just really trust yourself and just be ready to have more faith than you ever had before, because you're gonna fucking need it. And what I would tell myself, right when I
Just like, I mean, even if you're pregnant, but something that you can hold with you in postpartum, because I think we do the birth classes.
Yeah.
We prepare for the labor, we prepare for birth, and maybe we even prepare for like breastfeeding, but we don't really prepare for postpartum.
No, not at all.
And we don't really talk about it. So what is something that you would have like wished somebody would have told you?
I would say, gosh, I wish someone would have really I wish I would have seen something like what you're creating, you know, and just surround myself, or I would say, I guess, surround yourself with honest and vulnerable moms, real moms that want to talk about like the really shitty things, and I would also just say that things will never be as they were, but they will calm down, and you will find a new normal, and you will, if you're feeling like this is not what you expected or not fulfilling you, I would just say that you have got to take care of yourself, and whatever that means for you, and that it will get better. I think like looking back, I mean, and again, like my son's barely 2.5, like I know I have not experienced a lot as a mom, but just in my experience that it changed.
Each season.
Right, it changes. It's like, it's constantly changing. Like even if you feel like your weeks are dragging on forever, like time keeps going. So you're not going to be in it forever. And I really hate, like something that I hate is like when I hear like just soak it all up, just you're gonna miss these days, just be in the moment, like, you know, and it's usually, I get it, like obviously parents with older kids and that see younger kids and that, you know, want that time back, but I just really, I have to remember not to say, when I get older, like I have to remember not to tell a younger mom that, because it makes it seem
you don't
like,
want to hear that.
it makes it seem like I'm not appreciating it and I'm not soaking it up. I am, but I'm in the fucking trenches, you know, I'm good, you know, I got it. I got it. Like, you're making me feel like I am not taking it all in or not appreciating it or not soaking it all up for what it is, because I am soaking it up for what it is. And for right now, or like at this moment, it doesn't feel great. And maybe it will feel great next month, and I'm going to soak it all in, and I'm going to see, you know, my kids like interact. And I have had those moments where I'm like, okay, this is the good shit. Like, this is what it's about. Like, this is, yes, like that makes me, like when you see your boys together, like playing or whatever, you know, like that, I get it. Or when they're sleeping, like, you know, like when they're sound asleep, like, yeah, they're so beautiful. No, I am a mother, but I can exist outside of motherhood. I can have thoughts and feelings and interests and a life that exists outside of my kids. And I can be okay with that. And I can figure out who I am and who I want to be without tying it to my kids or the future that I want for them.
bird in a tree.